If you have any debt, then your debt is someone else's passive income. A fatal error is thinking that this process has something to do with rates. It's all a matter of where the money, the volume of money is flowing to and who that money is being put to work for. We're not going to ask someone to change their habit of saving. We're just going to ask someone to change where those savings reside so that from that place, they can take control of the banking function in their life. Our organization, what we do, I'm privileged to lead a wonderful team of people who are very focused and specialize in the implementation of this process and working with households, with business owners, with real estate investors, with established entrepreneurs who all want more control. They want more control over money, over growing their businesses, over improving or expanding their wealth, whether it's personally or professionally. And that's what our team members work on for our clients every single day. And we always ask people to think about that great experience that you've had, whether it was a delicious meal, a great show, where everything about the experience was perfect from start to finish. And that's what doing business with us makes our clients feel like. And we're just privileged and very blessed to do what we do every day. And we serve Canadians coast to coast, and we're rapidly expanding and growing. And it's just a privilege to be able to bring this message to the marketplace and to serve so many wonderful people. I was working with Dell at the time and in a senior partner management role. And my wife, Rebecca, and I lived and worked in Riverview, Florida, which is just south of Tampa Bay. And I was on that corporate ladder. I was part of the executive leadership mentoring program. And I thought that was honestly going to be my lot in life. And I really enjoyed that, corporate environment of growing, building teams, because at that particular organization, I had a lot of autonomy. I was provided with the ability to really, truly lead and grow and develop, a team of people. And then when Rebecca and I got pregnant with our firstborn, Rebecca said, look, let's move back to Canada, because my wife's sister was pregnant with her third child at the time. And with Rebecca being a registered nurse and having one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know, she said, I want to be close to my sister to help her. And I said, great. So we moved back to Canada. And that didn't include me staying on, with Dell. And little did I know that was going to change the course of my life. And when I was introduced to what I now know to be the process of becoming your own banker, it was via an invitation from a friend in the United States. So Matt Lovelady had reached out to me just prior to July of 2008. And he had said, hey, we're doing this conference. It's going to be in Las Vegas. We're going to go for 3 days. We're going to learn and have fellowship. It's going to be amazing. You should come down. And so I invited a colleague of mine to come down to this event. And we spent 3 days there. We were the only 2 Canadians in the room. And there were more than 300 people there. And what they were describing, they weren't using the words becoming your own banker, the infinite banking concept. And I was taking notes, and I knew obviously nothing about it prior to then, but I left that conference believing that everybody should hear this message. And it began with me. I started to implement it, and it just began to change our lives. But starting a business, going into business for yourself when you're used to a biweekly salary, you've got stock options, you've got full benefits, you've got total control over your time, and going into business for yourself is a very scary proposition. At least it was for me. I was scared shitless. And I remember thinking to myself, after the first year that I was in business, my net after all expenses were paid, my net was $186. And I thought to myself, I got to go back to the corporate world. I got to go back to the comfort and security blanket of that paycheck and the benefits and everything associated with it. And my wife, Rebecca, sat me down, and I'll never forget this, ever forget this. We scraped together enough money to buy it was a small pizza. And I'll never forget it. It was one of the best tasting pizzas I've ever had, because during that conversation, first of all, we were laughing about it because it's like we had to scrape together money to go buy a pizza. Like we were literally just walking that financial tightrope. And she looked at me and she said, I believe in you. I support you. And never forget what your dad told you, which is don't ever be guilty of giving up on yourself. And that was a renewed commitment for me in that moment. There was nothing that was going to stop me from succeeding as an entrepreneur. Nothing. And so I just I dug my heels in. And fast forward to today, we've got a wonderful team. We have a beautiful headquarters. We're rapidly expanding. We've been operating debt-free since inception. And I now have cash confidence. So I'm no longer fearful of not having that safety or security or comfort. And it was all the credit to what we're talking about, which is the process of becoming your own banker, the infinite banking concept. The developer, the founder, the pioneer, the late R. Nelson Nash. I owe all the credit and all of the accolades, to him. And so that was my journey in a nutshell. But I'll tell you, man, the early stages, I literally scared shitless. And it was my real estate portfolio that got me through. Because without that real estate portfolio, without me having the ability to start selling some of those assets and getting some of that net equity to carry us through, it would have been a lot more difficult and painful a journey. But people look at you, right? And Peter, you can relate to this. Oh, look at it. You're so lucky. Congratulations on the success. You're so lucky. People don't realize that it's a culmination of years, and I do mean years, of 13 plus hour workdays, 7 days a week. I've missed more birthdays. I've missed more special occasions. I've traveled during all of these times where I should have been with my family, and I had to do what was necessary to build a business. And so it has absolutely nothing to do with, oh, look at how lucky you are. The luck came in being at the right place at the right time, to be connected with the right people, to build the right collaborations, and to really cement some amazing lifelong relationships. That's the only element of luck. Everything else is getting off your ass and doing the hard work, and doing it every single day, and never giving up no matter what. Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's what I like about really working in an environment where, examples set in terms of, you as a leader are definitely, do that every day in terms of, showing up first and last. And, I think it's about also integrating a lot of learning too, right? Maybe talk about strategic coach, how you have that integrated into and weaved into your environment, how you share that with the rest of the team.
Absolutely. So Dan Sullivan has just been an incredible coach. Dan Sullivan is co-founder of an organization named Strategic Coach, and he's been coaching entrepreneurs. In fact, he is the very best entrepreneur coach on planet Earth, and has been doing so for more than the past 4 decades. And I am just privileged to be a part of his 10X Ambition program. And the Strategic Coach organization, in and of itself, the entire team, they all embody what Dan teaches. And we made a decision here in our organization to weave the Strategic Coach model into our company. And it's been completely transformational. And so I can't thank Dan and his organization enough. And if anybody who's viewing or listening is an entrepreneur and you're not familiar with who Dan Sullivan is, the first thing you need to do is get your hands on a copy of a book titled Who, Not How. Again, that title of the book is Who, Not How. It's an amazing book. Would highly recommend it. But the impact has been really helped me to rethink my thinking. Dan said something to me very early on in the program, just over 3.5 years ago now. He said, Jayson, when you begin to think collaboratively, versus thinking competitively, collaboration opportunities begin to appear everywhere. And if you take your unique capabilities and you combine them with someone else's unique capabilities, and you do that to deliver more value to the marketplace and to impress clients, then both parties win, because both parties' revenues and profits go up. And it didn't cost either party anything more to do that. And so that changed it all for me, because I'm one of the most competitive people that you'll ever meet. And, you know, we've been the top overall advising agency in the country for the past 7 years in a row. And that is not something that many organizations can ever say that they've accomplished. But that was achieved through teamwork and collaboration, and far less through individual effort. And so we really embrace the teamwork philosophy here in giving people the opportunity to operate in their unique ability and to do the things that fascinate them and that bring them energy. That's one of the core philosophies of our group. And people truly are satisfied and fascinated by what they do because they get to shine. We work in a cooperative environment, not a controlling environment. If you took two businesses that were identical and you had one in a control environment and one in a cooperation environment, I can tell you which one is going to be the successful business and which one is continually shedding team members and shrinking, and they just can't figure out why. It's the environment. It's the leadership. Look no further. And so we pride ourselves in a cooperation environment.
I definitely say that that was something that I thought I had a pretty abundant mindset until I came and really understood there was definitely some things for me to get through, but I feel like, you know, I still have work to do on that. But I find overall just how it's structured just allows us all to, like you said, excel in what we're good at, what energizes us. I guess the difference between those two is like the scarcity mindset versus abundant mindset, you know, growth mindset, you know, going back to Carol Dweck's book on growth mindset is such a powerful thing to have. And we find that we are definitely building bigger things together, internally and externally. Let's just go back to, I just want to go back to the essence of, you know, what it is. You held up the book. I've got a copy behind me. We've got a copy here as well. I focus on entrepreneurs and investors, but this helps Canadian families across, you know, across, it's helping families across North America. What is it about the process and how does it work?
Well, I think the easiest way to share that with you and with viewers is the essence of this is to recapture the interest that you presently pay to banks, credit card companies, finance companies, and to have that money flowing back to you versus flowing away. So if you think in the ultimate in simplicity, everybody understands banking. Banking is the most important business in the world. Without it, nothing happens. And so if you can take control of that function, first and foremost, you need to ask yourself, who is the banker in your life today? Who's controlling that function? If it isn't you, you have an opportunity. And if you are in a situation where, so look at it from this vantage point. If you have any debt, then your debt is someone else's passive income. So just really stop and let that sink in for a moment. If you have debt, even if it's good debt, your debt is someone else's passive income. So if you get to take control of the financing function, this is all about how you go about the financing of things in your lifetime, whether it's real estate, business, personal, whatever that is, cars, weddings, property, all those things that you might otherwise finance. You can take control of that financing function and have that debt be your passive income versus someone else's. And so that's really the essence of what the process is all about. And it just transforms the way that you think, where the money's flowing to, and more importantly, who that money's being put to work for and for how long. And so you're going to need the function of banking, but what's more important is who controls it. And this process puts you in the driver's seat.
Right. And so I think that maybe that's what connects with most people is they understand debt and they understand, well, there's a difference between rate and volume of interest. I think, you know, I always give this example to people. You look at how low interest rates are today 1.5% mortgage interest, 30-year amortization. The first 5 years, you're still paying 30 cents of every dollar goes to volume of interest. And so that's an easy one to connect for people. Now, where I find, so build an asset while you're paying down debt. Awesome. And your money, your capital never stops growing. Now, when it comes to the other side of the business, people are saying, well, what about, I'm going to do two questions. One, I want you to answer about investing. And the other one is just with cash flow, right? So
Sure.
Let's do investment first, because maybe that's the next one they can connect with. How do you use it for investment? How does it make it better than the alternative?
Oh gosh. Well, I suppose if you just think about anything that you can invest in, what it normally involves for people who are unfamiliar with how to become their own banker is it involves you handing control of your money over to someone else who thinks that they can do better with it than you can. Or if you're investing in real estate, maybe you're accessing someone else's pile of money to go and purchase an asset. Whereas when you become your own banker, you build up this pool of financial value called cash value. You borrow against it on your terms, not someone else's. And you do that without interrupting any of the continued growth of your own pool of value. So, Peter, if you were not practicing this process and you said to me, Jason, I've got a great investment opportunity. It's going to require $50,000 and we're going to get a guaranteed 10% return on that investment. Well, if you used your money and put it into that investment, you've handed control of your money over to someone else. So you no longer have that money in your control. You can't utilize it. It's outside of your control. So someone else has gained the motion of that capital. If I take out a policy loan from the life insurance company, my $50,000 is still growing every day inside my policy, while the insurance company's money was the capital that was used to invest. You and I both get the same return, but I had all my money growing uninterrupted the entire time. And God forbid if something happened at any point along the way, there's also a massive tax-free windfall called a death benefit that gets paid to named beneficiaries income tax-free. And when I finance an investment, I control the repayment schedule of that financing. So remember what I said earlier, your debt is someone else's passive income, because if you had to borrow money from an outside lender to finance that investment, you're repaying that loan on the lender's terms, not yours. And so I prefer to be in a position of total control where I control the repayment schedule. And so among many other things, those are just a few of the unique attributes of becoming your own banker and why it creates a very peaceful, stress-free, way of life, and still leaves the door open for you to capitalize on all those opportunities that will definitely track you down.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And I think that's, people look at that and they say, well, control is maybe underserved in that, right? And why the book's called Your Own Banker. I think we get into discussions with people about rates all the time, and you're in control of the effective rate at the end of the day in terms of how much interest you pay, but knowing that will come back to you in the form of dividends. And that's a deeper dive to discussion on that for sure. But
well, I'll just share with you this.
Yeah.
So a fatal error is thinking that this process has something to do with rates. It's all a matter of where the money, the volume of money is flowing to and who that money is being put to work for. And so if you think of something as simple as characters in the play. So if we put a play together, Peter, and we're going to have 4 characters who star in the play: the depositor, the borrower, the banker, the bank owner. So we have 4 characters in the financial play. Most Canadians have no idea that there are 4 characters in the financial play, and they often get them mixed up. And for most people, you are the depositor and you're also the borrower, but you're not the banker and you're not the bank owner. You go to borrow money from a bank. You are the borrower. You're making payments. You're the depositor, and you're doing all that on the bank owner's schedule, not on your schedule. So if you can become all 4 characters in the financial play, you will improve, expand your wealth. You'll ensure that it's indestructible, because the daily accrual of cash inside of this policy or system of policies cannot go down, and it's not tied to any stock market or to any economy or real estate cycle or government intervention. It's a contractually guaranteed outcome. And so if you recognize the truth that your money must reside somewhere, then what better place to have it reside than here? Is there any such thing as having too many deposits flowing into a bank that you control at the function that you control? And we're not talking about a bank in the conventional sense of the word, where you have to construct a building and apply for a bank charter and all these other different things. We're talking about a process and who's controlling it.
Yeah. So that's
Isn't that good?
The third thing I want to ask about is cash. And then maybe that's the hardest part for people to connect with. Yeah. How do you reckon with that? So, it's groceries, it's bill payments, it's living expenses, it's taxes. How does this make that more effective than saving up cash and, accomplishing your financial objectives that way?
Well, if you save up money, right, you have to save it somewhere. So if you're saving it inside of someone else's bank, does anybody watching or listening honestly believe that that bank is letting that money sit still? And so if you are the type of individual who likes to save and then spend, that's a good habit to have. But the question becomes, where is that money residing? Because it has to reside somewhere. If you pile up money for your income that shows up, your employer directly deposits into your checking account, your bank sees your money first. And that's no longer your money when it lands in that account. You become an unsecured creditor of that bank. And when you spend the money from the account to buy your food, pay your taxes, your car insurance, your power bill, that's a permanent transfer of that money away from you. You can't use it again. You can't save it again. You can't earn interest on it again, not only for the rest of your lifetime, but for every generation that comes after you. Whereas if you're utilizing your own system by implementing this process, you're never interrupting the growth of your own aquarium of capital. And so that creates uninterrupted growth. And so if you know that you're contractually guaranteed to have a pile of capital grow every day, when would you want that interrupted?
Never.
Never. So it becomes a choice, because once you understand the problem, the solution becomes very clear and you know exactly what to do. And we're not going to ask someone to change their habit of saving. We're just going to ask someone to change where those savings reside, so that from that place, they can take control of the banking function in their life.
Right. And so that brings us to making sure you are working with the right people to implement that process. Talk about how Ascendant works with their clients, how you differentiate, how that it's differentiated versus any other experience you would have out there.
Oh, wow. I think it all starts with, what our mandate is. Our mandate is to continually create value and impress our clients. And we do that by having an amazing client service and success team. We have a massive portal. We name it the client portal. And clients get access to this Mount Everest of resources, video tutorials, case studies, quarterly group client coaching sessions, where you're part of a community of like-minded people who have been practicing this process and who love to share their experiences and how they're going about doing it. And so we show up in the marketplace in a way that no one else is showing up. And that's evidenced by the hundreds of 5-star Google reviews that we have, and the raving feedback that we get from clients who say, this goes far beyond the placement of a policy. This is really immersing me in education and helping me to rethink my thinking. And we're so proud of that, because everyone contributes to it. And that mountain of resources just continues getting bigger. And we show up where people are paying attention, right? We show up on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Instagrammies and the Tweeters and all those other, social media platforms. And now when people reach out to us, they say, we've been following you for the past several months and we've been consuming all this great content. And I really believe that I'm ready to go. I'm ready to implement this now. So we have all these resources that just work 24/7. We're not limited to the hours of operation. We have resources working for us around the clock. And it's incredible. I'm so proud of our group. All the credit goes to our team members. I get to do this. I get to show up and hang out with you and, one of the best connectors that I know. That's just part of your unique ability. And the only reason I'm able to do this is because I'm working alongside some pretty amazing people, including you. Isn't that good?
Yeah, no, it is. It's great to be part of something that is just, as I said, in the 2 years I've been here, I remember, I had you in a couple of times, struggle to get people to fill a room. We did, right? But then by the next round, we were trying to do road shows and literally had like 1 or 2 people in these events. And then we've had 2 events in the last, in the last couple of weeks, and we've had like 400 people in each of them. So it's definitely, you're right. You're seeing that pay off in terms of compound effect of just the amount of work that's been put in, the content that's put in. I have put links into both the YouTube channel, the Banker's Vault, as well as Wealth Without Bay Street. Great content. People have questions. They want to know more about the process. Where would you suggest people get started, though? What's the best place?
Oh boy, YouTube is a very popular platform where people go to learn. And so I think visiting the YouTube channels, the Banker's Vault, Wealth Without Bay Street, those are 2 incredible resources that I would wholeheartedly recommend people, consume. And if you like podcasts, well, you can get the Wealth Without Bay Street podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And we have client series on there. We have our advisor series where people can get to know our clients and their experiences and their journey. They can get to know our teammates. And it's all there. It's right at your fingertips from any device that connects you to the internet.